Hi everyone, how you guys doing? Compliments of the new year. It's been a while. It's been a while since I've shot a video. This is my first video of the year, and I actually think that even last year, I my first video of the year was around the 3rd or the 4th of January, on about this time. So I thought that I should take this moment to come into your space and, just to encourage you, just to share my thoughts with you. Since it's the beginning of the year, I thought maybe I can come into your space and, help you to be in the right mindset, in the right emotional state, have the right attitude to start this year, all right, so that at the end of the year you can be where you want to be, you know. So I just thought I should come here and and share my thoughts with you like I always do. Okay. You know, there's something about asking the right questions. Something about asking the right questions. And not asking someone else, but asking yourself the right questions. There is something about asking yourself the right questions. Because when you ask yourself the right questions, you get to have the right conversations with yourself. And when you have the right conversations with yourself, when you go out there, you get to have the right conversations with others, right? But if you ask wrong questions, if you ask yourself wrong questions, then you're going to have wrong conversations with yourself. And when you go out there, you're going to have wrong conversations with others. So it's important that you ask yourself the right questions. And it's my hope that as this year begins, you ask yourself the right questions that will lead to the right conversations with yourself. So, you may ask yourself, but why? Why should I ask the right questions? Well, if you're someone that's looking into improving their lives, making changes in their lives, that's where it all begins. You need to ask questions that are probing, questions that are challenging to you, questions that are inspiring to you, right? Questions that are empowering. The kind of questions that causes you to look within yourself and try to find answers. And it is from those answers that you can actually build your life the way you want it to be. And I know that we live in a society where asking questions is not something that's encouraged, right? In a lot of religious spaces, in a lot of cultural spaces and traditional spaces, we are not encouraged to ask questions. It is perceived as something that is disrespectful when you ask questions. So it's something that's very discouraged in our society. And so a lot of us don't ask questions. It's disrespectful to our elders. It's disrespectful to deities that we believe in. So we rather reserve ourselves. And what we don't realize is by not asking questions, we are restricting ourselves from growing. So there's something about asking ourselves the right questions because it expands us from within. It enlarges us. It increases our capacity to grow. I was listening to an interview of Jay Shetty and Deepak Chopra. So Jay Shetty was interviewing Deepak Chopra, and he asked him a very insightful question that I found to be very interesting, really. In fact, Deepak Chopra's answer was very much interesting. So Jay Shetty asked Deepak Chopra, what do you think are some of the things that people can do on a daily basis in order to improve their lives. And so you would think that Deepak Chopra would then, give you guidelines and do's and don'ts of what you can do and can't do, in order to change and improve your life. But he didn't do that. He did something very interesting. He said, people must learn to ask themselves questions. Every morning when you wake up, you must ask yourself questions. And I thought that was amazing to me. You must learn to ask yourself questions. Because when you ask yourself questions, they will lead you to the right places, where you're going to get answers that are actually going to help you to improve your life the way you want. So he said, every morning people must learn to ask themselves questions. And he said, sometimes you're not going to get the answers that you are looking for right away. And that's okay. And you shouldn't concern yourself with that. As long as you ask the right questions, then life, as it unfolds, it will give you the answers that you're looking for, as long as you are asking the right questions. Now that was powerful. So what some of us do is we ask questions. And as we ask questions, we want answers right away because we are in certain situations that we want to come out of immediately. And so we look for answers all over the place. And when we don't find them, we become frustrated. And from that frustration, there's desperation. And out of that desperation, we begin to make very drastic decisions that throw us in very messy situations. And so it's okay to not have answers right away. But over time, life will give you the answers that you're looking for. You see, I believe that there is an intelligence that lives in all of us. In all of us. There is an intelligence that permeates in all of space across the face of the universe. And so when you ask the right questions, when you ask yourself the right questions, the kind of questions that inspire you and challenge you and cause you to look within yourself, what you're doing is you are stimulating that intelligence within you. You are triggering that intelligence within you. And that intelligence, it begins to be aroused from within and brings forth the answers that you're looking for. But for as long as you don't ask the right questions, you will not get the answers. And so as we begin this year, I want to encourage you to ask yourself the right questions. So what I did was I took out a notepad and I started writing down those questions. And my questions may not be the same as your questions. You need to ask yourself questions that are in relation to your life. Questions that are pertaining to your specific needs in your life. You need to ask yourself questions that are pertaining to the position of life where you are right now. For example, one of the questions that I wrote down was, how can I best align my energy? How can I channel my energies to help me create abundance in my life? Because I believe in energy. I believe that we are all energy. So by asking myself that question, how can I channel my energies so that I can be able to create abundance in my life? That question is in relation to my life. It may not be in relation to your life. You may not understand what I'm actually asking because it's pertaining to my life. You don't need to even understand because I understand and I get what kind of question I'm asking myself, right? The other question that I wrote down was, What is the greatest ideal of myself that I can present to the world? I understand what I'm asking myself. You may not understand. So maybe your question can be, how can I improve my life? What kind of ideas can I come up with to change my life? Maybe you may ask yourself, how can I be a better person? How can I be a better mother, a better father, a better friend, a better partner? How can I improve my finances? What is the best way to express myself? So these are some of the questions that you can ask yourself that you feel are meaningful and relatable to you. So hence I'm saying you need to ask yourself questions that you can relate to, that you can understand, that are meaningful to you. Don't be in a hurry. Take out a piece of paper or a notepad and write down those questions so you don't forget them. And every evening before you go to sleep, you go through them, you read them out loud, you think about them, you let your mind marinate over those questions. You ponder over those questions for just 5-10 minutes before you sleep. And in the morning when you wake up, you do the same thing. You go through those questions, you read them out loud. You don't have to find the answers right away, but just keep thinking about them. Every day. And I promise you that in 3 months' time, your life will not be at the same place. Somehow your energies will shift. Somehow the way you look at things will be different. Instead of complaining about how bad last year was and how things didn't go your way, instead of stressing over that, ask yourself questions that are probing and challenging and inspiring and empowering. Questions that will cause you to seek answers from within yourself. And as you do that, you will begin to increase yourself from within. You will expand yourself. You will enlarge your capacity to grow and do things better, right? So there's something about asking yourself the right questions. So as this year begins, I want to encourage you to ask yourself the right questions. Perhaps that's exactly what you need to jumpstart your life and make the kind of changes and improvement that you are looking for in your life. So think about it. Think about it. Try that exercise. Challenge yourself by asking yourself the right questions and see how it will change the kind of conversations that you're going to have with yourself. Once you change and shift the internal conversations you have with yourself, it will then change the kind of conversations that you're going to have with other people. But it begins with you right here, right now. So as this year begins, let it begin with you asking yourself the right questions, because there is something about asking yourself the right question. It takes you to places that can be able to give you the answers that you are looking for, that will help you improve and make changes in your life. All right, guys. Cheers.